Right. Hey guys, Barokoshama here with a video. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I've actually released any content. And today's going to be a pretty chill one. I'm not going to do anything crazy, not like my usual stuff, but I've been getting a lot of questions about what is going on with Shaman. The new patch 11.05 changes have been announced very quickly. It feels like we just got the rework and now there's another big change coming to Shaman as a whole and a lot of other classes. So I've been getting a lot of questions about what my thoughts are on these changes and where we stand. But it's, first of all, disclaimer, way too early to talk about, oh, what the best builds are, stuff like that. What stats should we be going? Like, guys, just worry about the start of season 1 for now. We're going to be doing just fine in season 1. We can worry about all that stuff when the time actually comes. What I want to talk about is how the gameplay changes, what the changes are, and what my thoughts are on them. So currently on live server, I have geared my Shaman up to this point, 588.81. I've done a lot of PvP as well. I have full PvP set. And I kind of have a handle on what's going on with my talents in the Storm build, the current Storm build, and the talent layout for this. I like the Storm build. I like how versatile it can be. The only caveat that I don't like about it is how it performs in single target. Obviously, Farseer is a lot better for pure single target currently on the live servers. But all this is kind of changing. It's getting thrown out the freaking window in patch 11.05 with all the changes. So keep in mind too, we just received a hotfix tuning last week where our mastery actually got buffed to 35% instead of what was previously 25%, which is great. And all the damage for our elemental shaman has been reduced by 6%. This netted, if you had like quite a lot of mastery, this netted out to about a 3% nerf. If you had like maybe 2 or 3% nerf, if you didn't have a whole lot of mastery on your character, then it was a little more severe. But it wasn't that bad of a nerf. Shamans were doing really, really well. They still are doing really well. And Stormbringer got a little bit of a change as well. Tempest now deals 65% of its damage to enemies near its primary target was 50%. So Tempest got a little bit of a buff, but its damage is now reduced beyond 5 targets. Makes sense. Enhancement kind of got the same treatment, but elemental blast damage was increased. Let's go over to the actual Shaman changes for 11.05. Sky Fury mana change, that's fine. All Shaman Ascendance models have been updated. They honestly look like troll dolls. They're kind of weird looking. I'm not a huge fan of them, but visual update is okay. I think they'll change them. Shamans can now float on water while they're in the sentence form. Cool. Mana Spring no longer has an aura displayed. Updated spell visuals for Lava Burst. The Lava Burst visual is actually really cool. I like it a lot. It's kind of got that like black soot or coal effect as you're channeling it, and then the spell itself actually just looks cleaner as it's coming off of the character as opposed to what it currently looks like right now, where you kind of like throw up a piece of earth and it looks like a chunky meatball going through the air. This change looks more like a fireball, I'd say. I want them to still kind of keep that building up the earth part. I think that's pretty unique. I like that a lot, but I digress. Primordial Wave's icon has been updated. It looks like this now. Oops. Let's see if I can just quickly show it. It's kind of got that elemental look to it instead of a greenish undead look like it did in Shadowlands. So that's cool. Farseer. Elemental blasts from ancestors now prioritize your most recent attack target when possible. I think this might be because your ancestors were just throwing out elemental blasts when they were disappearing at random targets you weren't even in combat with. This is pretty funny, actually. Ancestors now prefer to chain lightning your target when you cast chain lightning or the targeted version of earthquake. I don't know why it's specifically saying the targeted version of earthquake. Why not just earthquake in general? But yeah, that's cool. We get more AoE from our ancestors when we're actually AoEing. Ancestors are now summoned equipped with historical shaman set. This is just like a flavor thing. Okay, let's get on to the actual PTR and discuss the big changes. So, Stormbringer, new talent, lightning conduit. You have a chance to get struck by lightning, increasing your movement speed by 50% for 5 seconds. The effectiveness is increased to 100% in outdoor areas. You call down thunderstorm when you reincarnate. That's cool. I think it's going to work better for PvP, honestly, than PvE. The other portion of that would be electroshock. So Tempest increases your movement speed by 20% for 5 seconds. This feels more like a PvE talent. Lightning Conduit, it just randomly happens. You can't really control when you're struck by lightning, and you'll just randomly get the movement speed increase. I mean, the better part of this is Thunderstorm, obviously. Being able to just knock enemies back in PvP as you reincarnate in battlegrounds, rated battlegrounds. I think that's going to be a pretty big deal. And then you like, it doesn't eat up your current thunderstorm cooldown, so that's pretty neat. I like that. A funny thing that you could probably do in PvE is just like, oh, I'm gonna use my Ankh to CC targets if I can line up my death with a potential stop, I guess. So that's a unique way of using it in PvE, I guess, in Mythic Plus. So Storm Swell has been redesigned. Tempest grants 10% mastery for 6 seconds. Now a choice note against Supercharge. So Supercharge here, Storm Swell, it's being moved from the middle row and a choice node with Arc Discharge. It's now being put as a choice node with Supercharge over here. You can kind of see that reflected on this side. It was just a no-brainer to go Arc Discharge all the time to begin with, because Stormbringer was effectively worse in single target than Farseers by a lot. So there wasn't really a point to going with Stormswell when it granted mastery when used on a single target. So makes sense. I like this change, because if we want mastery, and mastery is a pretty big point now, or I guess a much bigger noticeable stat increase for us as far as damage increase from our mastery. I mean, into the PTR from testing alone, I'm seeing that mastery is a lot more beneficial, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But that does kind of, that's why I talked about the mastery buff that we received a little bit ago, because it does play into what is going to be happening in the new patch. Nature's Protection has been redesigned. Lightning Shield reduces the damage you take by 3%. I think that's good. A 3% regular DR that you get just by having Lightning Shield on your character, that's fantastic. Good change on its own. Surging Currents has been redesigned. When you cast Tempest, you gain Surging Currents, increasing the effectiveness of your next Chain Heal or Healing Surge by 20% up to 100%. So this is interesting. You can stack up this Surging Current buff on like retail. The current patch, after using Tempest, your next Chain Heal or Healing Surge will be instant cast and consume no mana. This is interesting because we have to think that Stormbringer also plays into enhancement, right? This talent was a lot more powerful, I'd say, than Nature's Protection for Enhancement Shaman than it was for Elemental. So I think they had to redesign it in order for it to make sense on both. In PvP, Surging Currents, I think, was exceptionally strong for Enhancement Shaman. Conductive Energy spell icon has been updated the same as Lightning Rod. Okay, cool. Unlimited power tooltip updated to have it be consistent with other talents with similar functions. That's fine. Shocking grasp has been removed. Shocking grasp was this: your nature damage critical strikes reduce the target's movement speed by 50% for 3 seconds. I understand why they removed this, because we actually have so many slows in our kit. Having this on top of that was just kind of like overkill. We had like Earthbind Totem, you had Frost Shock, but also like Arctic Snowstorm, like an additional snare there. It was quite a lot. We had a lot of slows in our kit already. So Shocking Grasp, that's fine. What was it replaced with? Electroshock and Lightning Conduit. So these two new talents that increase our movement speed rather than slowing enemies down. Enhancement: Awakened Storms damage reduced by 35%. Fix an issue causing Awakening Storms damage to not be affected by Mastery enhanced elements. Side note, we're actually just going to be talking about the Elemental Shaman changes. I'm not going to make a video yet about Enhancement Shaman, just because I don't know if I'm going to be playing it or not, and I don't want to give people that that thought. So, Elemental section, we're just talking about Elemental Shaman in this video. A lot of talents have been moved around. Here's the retail talents. Here is the PTR talents for 11.05. It is a pretty substantial difference, if you can tell just by looking at them. A lot of stuff is going down, guys. New talent: Herald of the Storms, Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning Cast reduce the cooldown of Stormkeeper by 2 seconds. This is fun. This is a lot of fun. Choice node against Fury of the Storms. Fury of the Storms currently is the one where if you Stormkeeper, or if you cast Stormkeeper, you summon a Lightning Elemental that does some damage for you. Erupting Lava increases the duration of Flame Shock by 6 seconds. Lava Burst consumes up to 3 seconds of Flame Shock, instantly dealing that damage. And Lava Burst overloads benefit at 50% effectiveness. This is interesting because our mastery on the PTR deal 35% of normal damage and generate less Maelstrom. So Erupting Lava gives us additional mastery damage, but at the cost of eating up our Flame Shocks. This portion of the talent does not play well. It does not play well at all from testing. The reason that is because we already have a hard time managing our Flame Shocks, especially on multiple targets. Yes, they did change Lava Surge, so you're not getting as many Lava Burst casts out, but in a spread cleave scenario where you're still casting quite a lot of Lava Surges or Lava Bursts in a fire build, a Farseer fire build, this talent does not feel good to play with. Yes, the additional Lava Burst overload damage is nice, but like it just doesn't feel good to play with. I feel like the fact that it eats the duration of the Flame Shock is bad and can be removed, and it would just be a good talent. It would just be a good talent if it didn't eat up the Flame Shock duration. Or maybe change it to where it spreads Flame Shocks. I don't know. Or it adds 3 seconds to nearby Flame Shocks. Something that doesn't eat up our Flame Shocks, because Enhancement Shaman just got an additional way to spread Flame Shocks, and we got zip, nil, zilch, nothing to do that. And it sucks. It sucks a lot. New talent, Charge Conduit, increases the duration of Lightning Rod by 4 seconds and increases its damage bonus by 25%. This is an insanely good talent. From testing, Lightning Rod is doing an absurd amount of damage, probably comparable to Legion numbers or Legion percentages of our overall damage. If you guys played Elemental Shaman back in Legion, Lightning Rod was so good. And it's very similar to that. In fact, it is so good, it's probably going to get nerfed a lot. So heads up for that. This is a very good talent. You can keep up like 5 to 6 lightning rods on targets, and it's just doing absurd damage. Earth Shatter increases the damage of Earth Shock and Earthquake by 8%, increases the stat bonus generated by Elemental Blast by 25%. This is also a really good talent. We're noticing a fantastic change in our spender spell damage from this talent alone. The 8% is noticeable on Earth Shock in single target. It makes Earth Shock not feel like it's hitting like a wet noodle, which is great. The stat bonus increase, I'm not really noticing that, but I am noticing that when you do play Elemental Blast, if you play it, like the damage from Elemental Blast is comparable now to Earth Shock. Unfortunately, this Earth Shatter talent doesn't increase the damage of your Elemental Blast. For some reason. Increases the damage bonus, or increases the bonus damage that we get from our other spenders, but not Elemental Blast. I'm not really sure why they chose to do that. If they were just trying to make it so that Earth Shock was more competitive with Elemental Blast, that's fine, but it's still like your spender spell. Like, I don't think there should be a disjointed talent node based off of your spenders. That doesn't make sense to me, but oh well. Ascendance has been redesigned. This is a really huge change. Transforms into a Flame Ascendant for 15 seconds, instantly casting a Flame Shock. One Flame Shock, by the way. One Flame Shock. Oh, what else did you see there? And a 100% effectiveness Lava Burst at up to 6 nearby enemies. Currently, this on use is interacting a little bit strangely, as you can tell by what I just did there. So it casted one Flame Shock on the target, and it shot out 6 normal Lava Bursts, but 2 of them overloaded. So these Lava Bursts that are shot out can go on one target. Probably bugged right now. It's honing in on your own, like your one target that you are targeting. And those Lava Bursts can overload. That on use is pretty insane. While you're in Ascendance, this is another part of it, Elemental Overload damage is increased by 150%, and spells affected by your mastery cause 1 additional Elemental Overload. Hold. Ascendance no longer increases the critical strike damage of Lava Burst, or replaces Chain Lightning with Lava Beam, or removes the cooldown on Lava Burst. So while you're in Ascendance, you actually don't just cast Lava Burst anymore. You cast Chain Lightning, Lava Burst, Earth Shock, and in some cases Lightning Bolt. And the craziest part about this is that if it lines up, if Deeply Rooted Elements, which is the same as the new Ascendance, okay? Deeply Rooted Elements procs, it will send out the 6 Lava Bursts, okay? You'll get the Mastery damage increase, and if it lines up with Stormkeeper and Chain Lightnings in AoE, your Chain Lightnings are guaranteed to trigger an Elemental Overload on every target hit when you cast it during Stormkeeper. And if you're in Ascendance at the same time, those Chain Lightnings are doing an insane amount of damage. Now, if you just think, while you have Lightning Rod up on a bunch of targets, and you're in Ascendance, and you cast Stormkeeper and 2 Chain Lightnings, the amount of damage that comes out of Ascendance from that is insane. It is insane. Ascendance is so strong right now because of that alone. I just wish it didn't look like a troll doll. But really like the Ascendance change. I think it changes the way that we value Mastery as well, which is, I think, a good thing. Don't really want Mastery to be a dead stat, because our Mastery is pretty unique in the copying of spells. In fact, it is so unique that they copied our Mastery when they made the multi-strike stat back in the day. Back in Mists of Pandaria, multi-strike was a thing. They basically copied our Mastery to do that. And then they reverted it and gave our old Mastery back. When that happened, actually, Earth and Rage was our Mastery. When multi-strike was in the game, Earth and Rage was our Mastery. How weird is that? Anyway, I digress. Mastery. Elemental Overload now also increases pet damage. So the percentage damage increase that we get from our mastery now also increases our pet damage. This is great because it was not doing that previously for the longest time. For the longest time, we did not get the increase in our pet damage, which is ridiculous. It's its inception, which was pre-patch essentially, which wasn't even that long ago. Where are we? The cooldown of Meteor, Immolate, Call Lightning, and Storm Fury. Storm Fury is now Eye of the Storm, aka Tempest. It's changed names several times. It's the AoE effect that you get from your primordial Storm Elemental. Now reset when the Fire Elemental or Storm Elemental are refreshed due to casting the ability while an elemental is already active. This is interesting because currently on live servers, Skybreaker's Fiery Demise reduces the cooldown of your Storm Elemental so much, in fact, and your Chain Lightning while you're AoEing and stuff also reduces the cooldown of your Storm Elemental by 1 second. Okay? You have so much CDR on your current Storm Elemental that it gets to the point where, at least in testing and on pre-patch and in PT, like I swear I was only 6 seconds off there, 8 seconds off there. Okay, that's probably because I don't have a whole lot of crit. In testing on beta, your Storm Elemental was up significantly quicker, like significantly quicker because of how much gear you had. They made this change because it was actually a DPS increase for us to dismiss our current Storm Elemental and summon the Echo of the Elementals, Little Elemental, when your Storm Elemental was off cooldown. It was a DPS increase for us to do that. Okay, so we would have a cancel or a macro to do that. Okay, I hope we're all on the same page. So they made this change. It now resets the cooldown of your current Storm Elemental, but I do not know if it still summons the Echo of the Elemental. We cannot test this. There's no way for us to be able to test that. If it works, if it doesn't, we don't know. I'll tell you why. It'll be later on. We'll go still in order. Wind Gust from Storm Elemental now grants 4% haste increase instead of 3% cast time reduction, and stacks up to 4 times was 10 times. The reason they did this is because they also lowered the duration of our elemental. On retail servers, it's for 36 seconds. This is because we have Everlasting Elements, which increases the duration of our elemental by 20%. So normally it would be 30 seconds. On PTR, it lasts for 20 seconds. Way less time. So, in order to compensate, because in 20 seconds we were never going to be able to reach the 10 stacks, they increased the haste to 5 instead of 3 and reduce the amount of times it stacks up by 4. I think they should give us an additional stack, because that doesn't equate to the same. That does not equate to the same. That's 30%. This is only what, 16%? 4 times 4 is 16. Yeah, 3 times 10, 30. That is a big difference. That's half the amount of casting speed. So they should allow it to at least stack an additional time for it to even get close to where it was. Wind Gust is now on a personal resource display. That's okay. Stacks of Wind Gust no longer reset when the lesser Storm Elemental from Echo the Elemental spawn. This is a great change. It's a good quality of life change, because when your current Storm Elemental disappeared and the Echo came in, you had to restack up to 10 times, and it was really freaking annoying. It was really annoying. So that's a good change. Good quality of life change. Deeply Rooted Elements now triggers from Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, or Earthquake instead of Lava Burst. Interesting. So casting Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, or Earthquake has that chance instead of just lava burst. This is a good change, one, because when they nerfed the crap out of lava surge, we started casting way less lava bursts, and so deeply rooted elements was affected very negatively by that, and the proc chance of it was terrible. But the amount of spender spells that we cast in comparison to builder spells, I don't think that equates to the same thing. I would argue that they should increase the proc chance of it now to 9% at least, and in addition add either Tempest to have a proc chance to proc deeply rooted elements, or summoning a ancestor should have a chance to proc deeply rooted elements. If you're playing the Farseer build, if you summon an ancestor, you should have the same amount of chance to proc deeply rooted elements, as well as casting Tempest. Those additions would make deeply rooted elements feel a lot better, especially as a capstone talent, because it just does not proc enough. For how impactful Ascendance is now, it does not proc enough. Having Ascendance on a 3-minute cooldown because of how good Preeminence is right now with like the haste value of it, it feels out of reach, essentially. Like, it is such a powerful cooldown, but it feels out of reach with the current way that it is proccing with deeply rooted elements. So that is my gripe about it. Frost shock damage is increased by 30%. Ice Fury can now trigger from casting Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning in additional Lava Burst. This is a good change, good quality of life change, because we were not able to cast as many Ice Furies. Ice Fury now causes your next Frost Shock to be empowered. Was 2, so it only does 1, and now causes Frost Shock to hit up to 4 additional targets. So this is just like Electrified Shocks. I like that a lot. Ice Fury now increases damage by 150%, was 225%. That's fine. I mean, it was buffed by base damage by 30%, and it now generates 3 Maelstrom, and it's hitting up to 4 additional targets, so I think that change is fine. Frost Shock and Flame Shock and Primordial Wave now generate Maelstrom, 3 of it. Liquid Magma Totem now generates 8 Maelstrom. That's fantastic, especially if you're going to be resetting the cooldown from Totemic Recall. Ice Fury now causes Frost Shock to generate an additional 7 Maelstrom. So now we're at 10 Maelstrom under the Ice Fury effect. Flash of Lightning no longer reduces the cooldown of nature spells when Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning are cast. This is a huge hit to us. This is a massive hit. 1, the cooldown reduction was very, very essential for our survivability. 1, it reduced the cooldown of Astral Shift as well as Stone Bulwark Totem, 2 of our only defensive abilities, as well as Earth Elemental, which is a 5-minute cooldown. Earth Elemental, a 5-minute cooldown, gives us 15% maximum health. 5-minute cooldown. That is ridiculous because it dies almost immediately when you summon it. Flash of Lightning, dead. It is a dead talent. It is only used now to get over here. Increases the critical strike chance of Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning by 10%. Only. That's all it does. That is terrible. That is a terrible decision. I hate that decision. Everyone hates this decision. We don't get the cooldown reduction anymore on Storm Elemental. We don't get the cooldown reduction on Wind Shear. We don't get the cooldown reduction on Spiritwalker's Grace or Ancestral Guidance, okay? Or Nature's Swiftness or Stormkeeper or Thunderstorm or Capacitor Totem. I could keep going. Actually, there isn't any more spells. Totemic Recall or Totemic Recall. This is bad. This is terrible. Essentially, all of our utility spells were so much more stronger because of Flash of Lightning, and it was such a great talent that you picked it even if you were going into Fire build, because it reduced the cooldown on your Wind Shear. In Mythic Plus, that was fantastic. You could get it down to like an 8-second, 6-second kick or cooldown. That's amazing. It was so good. And it wasn't like overly broken because we used it in Season 2. When in Dragonflight, we were a lightning build shaman. We played Echo of the Great Sundering, and we played a lightning build. And Flash of Lightning was so freaking good, it was underrated. Now it's gone. So we have none of that advanced utility, and we didn't get any compensation for that. They didn't reduce the cooldown of Stonework Bulwark Totem. Okay, it's still at 3 minutes. We still have the same cooldown on Astral Shift. They didn't reduce the cooldown. Oh, it also reduced the cooldown of Nature's Guardian, by the way. The internal cooldown of that. Pretty sure it did. But yeah, we have none of that additional survivability. And it keeps going. It gets a little bit worse. Fire Elemental and Storm Elemental now last 20 seconds, was 30. I already said that before. Lesser Elementals from Echo the Elementals now last 10 seconds, was 15. Storm Frenzy now reduces the cast time of Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning by 30%, was 40%. Storm Frenzy is the talent here. Whenever you cast your Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, or Earthquake, this can accumulate up to 2 charges. So it reduces the cast time of your Tempest, your Lightning Bolt, and your Chain Lightning. Now that's reduced to 30% instead of 40%. Storm Frenzy now also reduces the global cooldown of its associated spell if the spell has enough or has a low enough cast time to be under the normal global cooldown. This is a good quality of life change because it could have felt pretty clunky if your haste values were super high. Fury of the Storms now summons a powerful lightning elemental for 10 seconds, was 8 seconds. So Fury of the Storms got a little bit of buff. That's the one where you cast Storm. Whenever you cast Stormkeeper, you summon that lightning elemental. Primordial Wave now also grants Lava Surge. This is a great change. This is a very, very good change because it plays exactly how we played it in Season 3 and 4 of Dragonflight with our tier set. Your Primordial Wave would send out a Elemental Blast, and that would also trigger Lava Resurgence, Windspeaker's Lava Resurgence, which would give us Lava Surge, right? Now it plays the exact same way. Fantastic. Good change. Good change. Lightning Conduit name change to Lightning Capacitor. Okay. Fix an issue causing the tooltip of improved Flame Tongue weapon to be incorrect when talented into Enhance Imbues. That's fine. I know I missed a very important one. We're going to get to it. Following talents have been removed. Right here. Unrelenting Calamity, Skybreaker's Fiery Demise. Some of you guys may, in the comments, not realize how big of a hit this is to us. I was just talking earlier about the change where summoning or like using your Storm Elemental or Fire Elemental active ability would now reset the cooldown of all of its abilities, like Meteor, what is it, Storm Fury now? I don't know what the name of it is now. Oh, I'm not even spec'd into Primal Mentalist anymore. When you used it, and if it came off cooldown, you already had an active elemental. That was because Storm or Skybreaker's Fiery Demise was a thing. The only reason why we were able to get Storm Elemental up or back off cooldown so quickly is because of Skybreaker's Fiery Demise along with Flash of Lightning cooldown reduction. So the fact that they made this change to your Storm Elemental, made all these changes to your Storm Elemental, reduces its duration to 20 seconds, reduces the amount of stacks you can get, and casting time reduction. Like, it now resets its cooldowns, but they took away everything that would have made those things a problem at the same time. So those two changes are absolutely hated. We do not like those changes of reducing or getting rid of Flash of Lightning cooldown reduction and getting rid of Skybreaker's Fiery Demise. Unrelenting Calamity. What was that? This one reduces the cast time of Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning and increases the duration of Earthquake by 1 second. Yeah, that wasn't really a very impactful talent. That's fine. But Skybreaker's Fiery Demise, holy crap, is that a hit into the gut. We are so strong right now on retail and in Mythic Plus because of this talent. Because we're allowed to have Storm Elemental up for pretty much every single pack. Because we're pulling like 5, 6, 7 targets only in our AoE pulls in Mythic Plus. We're not doing these massive pulls because tanks can't live it, right? So it's a perfect amount of targets. We can keep up 6 Flame Shocks, okay? We have the ability to spread our Flame Shocks almost immediately with the cooldown of Liquid Magma Totem being up for every single pack. And Skybreaker's Fiery Demise also gave us an increased power on other talents, okay? The uptime on our elemental made Primordial Bond more powerful. We had that 5% damage reduction up more often, which was really, really good. Everlasting Elements was a much more sought after talent. It was a good talent because of Skybreaker's Fiery Demise. Echo of the Elementals. This was a lot better because we had more elementals out. Primal Elementalist, also a lot better because of how often our Storm Elemental was up, or our Fire Elemental. Like, you had all of those. Like, this talent made 4 other talents in your kit better. That is a terrible decision to get rid of Skybreaker's Fiery Demise. Oh, it just pisses me off. You now don't really play any of that stuff. The builds that we're kind of testing on the PTR make us more into just casting Chain Lightning and Earthquake, pretty much. That's it. Just casting Chain Lightning and Earthquake. We don't even worry about Flame Shock. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about builds, but this is the current thing that we're testing. One of the best builds right now on the PTR, just from testing, I'll give you this tiny little slice, is ignoring Flame Shock essentially in AoE altogether. Like, you can see it, I don't have any Flame Shock spreading. I'm not even expecting a Primordial Wave or Splintered Elements, okay? And I'm just trying to get as much Lightning Rod damage out as possible. That's literally all I'm doing. And you might see that I'm playing Echo of Great Sundering because it's very easy to spread your lightning rods with Earth Shock and Earthquake. You just have to tab target a lot, obviously, which makes me feel like I'm playing Enhancement Shaman a little bit with the Lashing Flames debuff on all of your Flame Shock targets. So there's that. But yeah, getting rid of Skybreaker's Fiery Demise and then replacing it not only with a talent that we don't like, but one that is not fun to play with. Like Erupting Lava, you replace Skybreaker's Fiery Demise with Erupting Lava. We don't like this. This should just be a completely different talent. Change it to either spread Flame Shock or increase the duration of active Flame Shocks near the target that you Lava Burst. Okay? Or give us Skybreakers back. We didn't ask for this. Skybreakers was great. We loved it. Freaking loved that crap. All the other changes I do like, aside from getting rid of our cooldown reduction. All the other changes I do like. I like how it plays. Lightning build plays pretty fun. The Farseer build also does not do well though. The Farseer build, like Fire build, is kind of dead with this. With these changes, because your Fire Elemental is not up nearly as much. Lava Surge was nerfed into the ground, so you don't get as many procs anymore. Because Lava Burst is no longer affecting Deeply Rooted Elements. Also, Deeply Rooted Elements just doesn't do anything for the Fire build, aside from you just maybe getting a proc every now and then from casting Earthquake. Your actual, like, ancestors don't do enough damage. They nerfed Lava Burst quite a long time ago into the ground, like so far into the ground, and now that is being felt more up to this point. Lava Burst needs to be doing a lot more damage. It should get a buff. because the fire build is kind of dead. We're not really using it as much. Routine communication did get a change, which we do like. Lightning bolt, lava burst, and chain lightning, ice fury, and frost shocks have a 5% chance to call an ancestor to your side for 6 seconds. This is a good change. That was the next change that I was going to talk about. So they nerfed the chance for it to proc was 8% to 5, but it would only proc on either Riptide casts or Lava Burst. So I think this is a little bit too low of a chance to proc, because you're just your ancestor uptime is very, very low. It feels very impactful. I think it should be at least 6% or 7%. The change to Ice Fury though is really nice. The change to Ice Fury is really, really nice. I like playing it in Lightning build or in the Farseer build for single target. It feels good, especially with Fusion of the Elements. If I'm playing a Lightning build with Elemental Blast for a single target, it actually is fun. There's a lot of weaving of spells. You're not just spamming one spell at a time, like the entire time. There's a lot of weaving with playing the Ice Fury. Now, I know a lot of people may not like Ice Fury, but give it a chance. You'll see it proc a lot more, and the mobility increase that you get from Ice Fury is still really powerful. So I like it a lot. The way that the class is flowing and plays with just for single target, by the way, feels good. For Lightning build, for Farseer, not so much. Another thing I didn't mention was Flash of Lightning actually reduced the cooldown of your Ancestral Swiftness and Primordial Wave, which was a really big deal for the Farseer build, because it gave us more uptime on our ancestors. So with that gone as well, Farseers actually took a pretty big hit. That's why I think that routine communication should be buffed by quite a lot, because you're getting rid of Flash of Lightning cooldown reduction. It's a really bad change for that that hero talent. Anyway, those are the changes to the Elemental Shaman. I had to make a video about it, give it my thoughts. There are some good things. There are also some bad things. I hope that Blizzard hears the feedback. We did not want the cooldown reduction getting taken away. That was really, really fun for us. So keep this in mind. There are still going to be more changes to come. I might make another video, but these were pretty big changes. I couldn't really ignore not making one. It was just going to be kind of like a low budget thing. Put it up on YouTube. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of these changes in the comments down below. What do you like? What do you dislike? If we agree on something, if not, cool. Let me know down below. I may release some more content. I don't know about doing guides. Depends on how much people want me to do guides this upcoming season. So anyway, thanks for watching. Glad you came back. Keep calm, Shaman. Bye bye.